Welcome back. In this next chapter, we're stepping into the boardroom with our inner child in tow. And trust me, she has notes. Today, we're diving into the wild, unspoken, and often contradictory world of women in the workplace. The power plays, the invisible labor, the tightrope between being nice and being enough, all of it. And beneath every polished email and every swallowed comment is a younger version of us, still trying to figure out what safety, validation, and belonging look like. So buckle up, because this isn't just a conversation about office dynamics.
And then moving on to success part, specifically in the workplace, why do you think some successful women act like there's only room for one at the top? Is it ego, fear, or conditioning?
Oh, that's a really great question.
I actually love that framing one.
Yes. Is it ego, fear,
Or conditioning?
The way I see it is that fear. Now, the reason why your ego comes out is due to fear.
Yeah.
At any point, whether it's in that situation or any other situation that comes up, right? So whether you're female or male, that still happens.
Yes.
So when you're scared or you're fearful of something, your flight, fright, and freeze response kick in.
Yeah.
And as you're there and you're trying to fight for it, that's when your ego is trying to come out and is trying to protect you in quotation marks.
Yeah.
So, and you said another word, and
Conditioning.
Conditioning.
Yeah.
I think there is some conditioning as well, because I think that there is probably, and also this is coming from an area that I don't have that much experience in, but and I don't want to speak over any women that may or may have not felt this way. So it is possible, but I think that instead of thinking about conditioning, because it seems to me of a more of a very how can I explain this? The way I recognize the word conditioning is basically something that they have to get rid of, or something that is wrong with them, which I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's about conditioning. I think it has to do more about, I think these women or men would need to have some form of a bit more knowledge, not even knowledge, just listening to them. I think listening to them, asking questions, getting curious and listening. I think that's what it is. Just to understand where they're coming from. I think at one point or another, no one has necessarily listened and asked them questions.
Yeah.
And having really honest conversations and allowing them a safe space. And letting them talk and and being vulnerable with them as well. And as you show vulnerability for yourself, as you're showing your vulnerability, probably there would be a lot more there's the fear that might come in, but just creating a safe space, eventually those conversations will be a lot more fluid. And to determine as to, probably it is fear-based, fear of, once again, this is all assuming, but if we have our own imposter syndrome, they may have their own as well, right? So,
100%.
And their self-sabotages, and but some people don't have necessarily the communication style. They don't have the vocabulary either to actually determine how to express them. So the best way for them to do so is for their ego to come out, whether it's to scream, yell, to get there's that level of superiority that comes out.
Yeah.
And once again, I think one way would be to kind of, and this is if and only if the person is open. On a professional side, I would say only if they would be open or having and creating a safe space, whether professionally or even personally as well, because I'm sure they also have friends and family. So recognizing if you do have a friend or family that is like that, to creating a safe space and having those types of conversation.
I just love that, and especially the creation of safe spaces, because that's all what humans crave for, right? And even with regard to listening, like most of the time, although we are indulging in conversations, it's a monologue. It's not a dialogue, because we're waiting for the person to stop and then just jump in with our own views without really taking this perspective of where the person is coming from. And having that perspective, I think, really can sort out lots of assumptions that we make about the person. Oh, well, she's so arrogant, or she's behaving in a dismissive way. Well, do we really make an effort to understand the other person? Do we really make an effort to understand the culture or the grooming or the conditions they have been? Not to justify, but to understand, because understanding is the path towards progress. You cannot make any changes before being self-aware, as you've also mentioned. So I just love that piece of honesty.
I agree. I just would like to add one more thing, though, in that regards. It's more so, if you ask somebody a question, or if you allow somebody to ask, whether you're asking a question and they're not speaking, or you're just there to listen, eventually people get tired. They get, they're not comfortable in silence. So somebody will begin to talk, and whoever is the one who is creating that safe space, if we just stop talking for a couple of minutes, the other person will open up eventually. It's just to kind of having that, creating the safe space, as we mentioned before, but it's also to, what was it? I can't seem to remember how it goes, but the opposite of learning is knowing. So if you know everything, you're not learning.
Love it, honestly, yeah. I mean, and just to add to this, even what we think we are expert about, or experts on a certain subject matter, there is so much more on this planet that we do not know, and we think we know it all, which is another illusion that most of the people have. So honestly, I don't even side with this expert concept, because there's a lot which is not out there and a lot to be learned out. So yeah. And another quick question for you is, do we really as women support each other, or are we just performing solidarity because it's trendy?
Wow, that is once again a very good question. I think that I think most of us, like, I don't know what the actual percentage is, but I think most of us are right now in solidarity with one another and trying to support one another and trying to help one another. In anything, there's always the ones who are trying to be the trendsetters, which, you know what, at the very least, I'm thinking, you know what, at least we're all moving towards the right direction. So if they're trying to be trendsetters and influence and give voice and support to women right now, whether they believe it within themselves or not, maybe eventually that will come on their own. Maybe not, but at least we're working towards the right direction.
Yeah, and just as a follow-up on this, do you think sometimes, even though we're trying to, as you're mentioning, there is a wave towards supporting one another, but do you also think, are we masking something in the support that we offer? Is there some self-interest behind it, or the fear of being judged or attacked if the person comes to know my personal interest, or just to show, well, yeah, I'm just supporting, but at the same time I'm envy of you and I think ill for you and I wish you just have the worst thing and you just get out of my way, out of this workplace? Do you think that those things also tend to prevail, but under a guise of supporting one another? I know it's a hard question.
It's a very tough question, because I don't necessarily feel like I have gone into that type of experience myself, and that's not trying to dismiss anything that others have gone through, and for those that have gone through it, to get the support and the resources they need to overcome those things. I'm not too sure as to how to respond to this question. I'll be extremely vulnerable and just say it that way. Unless, can you give me an example? That way I could probably...
Okay, imagine, for instance, even at a workplace social gathering, a woman from your own, I would say...
circle.
Circle ends up winning an award or best employee or something like that. And other women, they're walking up and being like, hey, so good, we're so happy for you, we're ready to support you in any way, and all those things. But at the same time, they're the ones who are bitching about this person, spreading rumors about, or probably, you know, after winning an award, she goes out somewhere and one of her videos gets leaked about, oh, well, yeah, she was found somewhere doing drugs. Something like that. Let's just take a very hypothetical example.
Right.
I can't just create something out of this, and they're looking for the opportunity of where can they attack this woman. So now, although when you were there, and probably they're going to call this woman up and be like, hey, we got to know it was so bad that it happened to you, we are here for your support, but they were the ones who were literally going around spreading the rumors and laughing around, and probably one of them also shot the video of her and spread it around. So now, masking this as support, but at the same time doing things which is attacking her, because it was just the envy that came in. Oh, well, how dare she got the best employee award, and she came 5 years after I joined, and how come she could grab when I should have been the one, and I'm going to put her back into her place. So yeah, all those scenarios, when those happen, what do you think? Are we masking support, or are we genuinely trying to support one another?
Okay, thank you for explaining. Now, I think it goes into whether women or male, but I think it goes into red flags first and foremost. We talk this quite often in toxic relationships and so on, or people will show you who they are from the moment that you see them and you meet them.
I love that.
So one way or another, this person, whether they're showing you to be a loving, kind, supportive woman or helpful friend or a you go girl type of, vibe going on, but eventually you may have seen or you may have felt, we all have this thing called intuition, gut feeling.
Yeah.
There's an actual, literally science behind all of this.
Of course.
So we all have it. And I think that at one point when you're sharing inner information or you are sharing your wins or they're there, even if it's yours or others, you will see certain things, and we want to, I think it also not necessarily comes with age, but I also believe that it's just to really feel, if you're feeling something is off, probably it is. It's not just some random reason. Like if you're feeling off, if you're not feeling well around a certain person or a certain event or a certain something, 100% something's completely off, and you should be either staying home, not doing, changing your plans, doing something with somebody else, doing something with yourself, whatever it is, then continue engaging with these people or engaging with that specific person or with that organization. And also, you know what, truth be told, yes, people are out there talking ill about you, looking at your social media and trying to find faults.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they have nothing else better to do. So continue living your life, do what you want to do, and you're going to make mistakes along the way. Just let it not be too costly.
Love that. Love the way you just put it out. So I really have no words, but I think this is a very strong message to the audience that just went out. And moving on to the healing piece, have you ever realized that the way you sabotage yourself is just your childhood wounds running the show?
Yes, to a certain extent, yes, it is. Your child. There are your childhood wounds. There's also I think I was a bit too soon to respond to that. Let me just think a little more. Yeah, I think it has to do with childhood wounds and things that we have learned along the way, as well as to whom you should be based on culture, based on society, based on family, based on different things that you've picked up as you were growing up, or even as you continue to grow. And I think there's always that area of there are certain things that are your childhood that is wounded, and there's actual trauma behind that, and that's one thing that you would need to, or in my experience that I have worked and done consistently on a continuum basis, working on myself and any childhood trauma that I've had, or childhood wounds, not necessarily trauma per se. And there's a book by, I think her name is Brianna West. She also wrote The Pivot Year, and she wrote the book that I read recently. It's called The Mountain Is You. It's actually really spot on talking about self-sabotage and how you can change your self-sabotage and make it more self-discipline or self-motivation.
Beautiful.
And she covers a lot of topics that I feel that a lot of women or men can really utilize. These are tools and skill sets that they can be used in order to have more of a once again, this is where the honest conversations come along, and having more of a rational conversation with why you're self-sabotaging yourself.
I just love the way you brought it out, and the book that you were mentioning, like sometimes, transforming the weaknesses into your power, rather than you have a choice. Sit your entire life, blame yourself, be the victim, or rise from the ashes.
Well, yes, exactly. I remember there's what you're not what you're not changing, you're choosing, and that's one of the things that that was one phrase or sentence that this year that was my way of changing certain things within my whether my way of thinking, and just the things that I want to change within. And you mentioned something about fear-based and victimhoods, and I think that has to do a lot of lack of self-awareness.
Yeah.
There's also another book by Don Miguel Cruz. I hope I'm saying his last name correctly. It's the book 4 Agreements, and it's one of my favorite books. There's 4 topics. One of them is like do your best, always say the truth, and I always forget one of them. But the other one is don't take anything personally. And there's literally a passage that says in the book, and it makes me laugh every time because it's so true. And he's like, imagine you're walking down the street and someone calls you stupid. Do you turn around and say to this person, oh my God, how did he know? He's so clairvoyant. How can he can tell that I'm stupid? And that's when I was like, oh my gosh, this is so funny, but it's so true. And it really got me to got that sentence, and that passage really stuck with me.
Amazing.
And yes. So, and I think there's also, if you are having you're victimizing yourself, or you are self-sabotaging yourself, and so on. Know that everyone has gone through it. No one has, it's a very normal, and when I mean normal, everyone goes through victimization. We all feel the blame, we do blame others. It's normal. It's a very normal and human approach. It's just that there's a level of how long do you stay in that?
Exactly.
I think that's where the difference is, because I'm seeing a lot of content online about victims and victimhood and how you should not be a victim, and it's like, yes, you should not be a victim. You shouldn't. Not that you shouldn't, and I don't like saying should or could or what have you, but it's more so, it's up to you what you choose. But in my opinion, everyone does feel a moment of being the victim of a certain event. Sometimes we are definitely a victim, but then recognizing also your fault in those situations and the events that occurred. Sometimes we have no control over it, and I'm not saying that.
Yeah, exactly.
There are severe examples that I would never call a victim. There's always certain topics that I would rather not discuss about, but then even when you are a victim in certain things, it's just to kind of take a step back and determine as to what are the what were your, not necessarily your responsibilities, but I'll give a very plain example, being in a relationship and not being in a healthy relationship. Let's leave it to that. Well, I could, if I take a step back and say, yes, this is what happened to me, but then I also recognize that I saw some of the red flags, and I still decide to move forward.
Yes.
And whether it was for my own insecurities that I had at the time, that I decided to move forward in that relationship, and I think it's determining that and realizing where are the areas that I within myself need to, do a little more work and determine as to how to be better within myself. That way I don't consistently attract similar types of individuals into my life.
I just love the way you put it out, and more so it's again, it goes back to the self-awareness piece of the ability to take in the bigger picture and knowing that, well, if you were a victim there, you also agreed to stay as a victim. There was a level of agreement that was involved, either conscious or unconscious, and having an awareness about that is the pathway towards the change that we want to bring in our lives. And I have a final question for you.